There are, so you've misinterpreted what's going on here. Can I explain what really is going on?
David Hilbert?
Yes.
Go and tell me how.
Okay, so first off, right, there is this notion of the Hilbert Hotel, okay? It's not, the problem is not infinity plus one.
What is it?
Because what happened was, in the history of mathematics, do you know who Georg Cantor was?
Cantor?
Yeah.
I haven't read his works, but...
Okay, so you don't know who he was?
No.
Okay, so basically, what Cantor showed, right, was that infinity is a perfectly well-defined concept in mathematics, but you don't treat it as a number because it's a set, it's not a number, okay? So the problems of the Hilbert Hotel arise when you treat infinity as a number. But, hang on, no, let me finish, let me finish, you've got to let me finish. You've got to let me finish here, right? Okay, so Georg Cantor, right, presented a system of mathematics which has infinity in it as a perfectly well-defined concept. And mathematicians agree, there's no debate about this as far as I'm aware, that infinity is a perfectly well-defined concept in mathematics and is allowed in mathematics. Now what Hilbert said was, he said, and I went and I've researched this with another professional cosmologist. Okay?
I'm waiting for this.
The original quote from Hilbert that was used by William Lane Craig and has been used by Hamza Sorces because he copied William Lane Craig is that David Hilbert did say that infinity is nowhere to be found in nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's
right? Now, that is a different question to, let me finish. Let me tell you why he said it. Let me tell you why he said it.
In our realm.
Okay, let me tell you why he said it. What his justification for that was. Have you read the original paper that Hilbert said this in?
I read extracts of it.
Right, but you never read the whole thing, did you? I did.
Okay, go on.
Okay, and let me tell you.
Man. You're here to enlighten us.
I'm going to. Okay. Right? Let me tell you what the full context of that statement was. Now, this was at a time that around about just during the First World War, Einstein had just proposed his general theory of relativity.
When was it?
1915.
I thought it was 1905.
That was a special theory. So
what are you talking about?
The general theory.
The general theory,
okay. So, so Hilbert actually tried to beat Einstein to the general theory of relativity because Hilbert was a better mathematician than Einstein, right? There's no question about that, right? Einstein actually couldn't do some of the maths, and he went to a friend. His friend was called Marcel Grossman.
I'm with you.
And Grossman taught him the mathematics of what's called tensor calculus.
Yes.
And so Einstein managed to just beat Hilbert, But Hilbert was onto it as well, because Hilbert had gone to Einstein's lectures, and he was trying to beat him. But anyway,
Go back.
So what happened was, general relativity then showed you that there's a global topology for the universe, okay? And the universe can have different shapes, okay? So the one shape is what's called a Euclidean flat universe, and according to Hilbert, this would be an infinitely big universe, right? And what he said was, Hilbert said was that Einstein had showed that the universe is not Euclidean, that it's curved, okay? So this non-Euclidean space would prove, and Hilbert made the claim that this, because the universe is not flat, right? Therefore, the universe is not infinite, and therefore infinity does not exist in the universe. However, he was wrong.
Why is he wrong?
Why is he wrong?
Because at that point in time, in 1915, they couldn't measure the global topology of the universe. Okay.
Wait a minute.
What's the
now I'm starting to. So are you proposing a reinvention of the Einsteinian model that we have?
No, not at all.
So what are you saying?
The Einsteinian model allows for all different geometries.
Okay,
so you have to actually go and do observations to see which is the correct geometry.
What's your proposition here?
Okay, so my proposition is that Hilbert said that he thought the universe was not Euclidean because general relativity does allow. And of course, not only allows, I mean, it implies that there is local curvature in the universe. However, the global structure of the universe is different to the local structure, okay? So you have to do measurements of a cosmic microwave background to see whether it's consistent with a Euclidean geometry or a non-Euclidean geometry, okay? And that couldn't be done at that time in the life of Hilbert. So he made an assumption, right? Now, let me finish because I'm almost done.
To be honest with you, like you've been speaking for about 10 minutes.
Okay, hang on. I haven't got to the point. Let me just get the punchline. Let me just get the punchline. So what happened was, in the 21st century, it was finally possible to make these measurements. Okay, and the measurements came back that the geometry was Euclidean, and so therefore Hilbert was wrong, and therefore his statement that infinity does not exist in reality, which is, by the way, not a statement for mathematics,
but let me say
right?
something.
It's been disproved.
No, hold on. No, you've got to be now receiving, yeah.
Yep, I'm listening.
I think there's so many issues with what you said, yeah, on a philosophical level.
Yeah.
If you think about it on a philosophical level, the existence of mathematical concepts in the real world itself is a questionable thing. Now, I'll tell you what I mean by that. If you look back in the Aristotelian time, with Plato in particular, and I'm going to come forward to the Enlightenment.
Sure.
Plato in particular, in the Aristotelian time,
Yeah.
or in time of Aristotle, obviously, like they were contemporaries, he invented what you call the land or the world of forms. Yeah?
Yeah.
The reason why is he invented that world because he saw that there's certain concepts, like mathematics, numbers,
Yes.
that basically had to, in his world, they had to exist, right? So he said that if they're used in argumentation, if we're using it in logic, they have to exist in the real world. So numbers are something which we cannot empirically, from a Plato perspective, we cannot empirically prove, right? So in other words, numbers don't exist. Maths doesn't exist.
Sorry, according to Plato?
Yeah.
No, that's not what Plato
Wait, hold
said.
on, hold on.
Historically, that's
No, I
not
haven't
correct.
finished. They don't exist in this world. They exist in the world of forms, yeah? And which is why, do you agree with that, yeah?
He agreed. He said
so
that
the
they
world of
exist in the
forms.
world of forms.
Thank you very
yes.
much. I'm
But
not
that doesn't
saying-
mean they don't exist in this world.
No, he had his.
He didn't say
had
that.
his special world of forms.
Yes, he
Let
said
me
that.
continue, please,
Yes.
yeah? Of course, I've just made that clear, yeah? Okay. So number one, point one, Plato said that in the world of forms, numbers exist.
Yes.
Point two, this is where it gets interesting, more interesting, yeah? You might think this is an outdated, Greek idea. What are these people talking about? No. Kant and, what do you call him? What's the other one? Bertrand Russell.
Yeah.
By the way, and Frege as well, yeah? Bertrand Russell, he tried to propose at one point, and you know this, yeah? That logic and mathematics were the same thing, yeah? And the reason why he did that was because he wanted to show that mathematics has an empirical root. It's imperative.
I don't think that's right.
Oh, hold on. That's he did. You can read his stuff.
Perhaps.
Now, him and Frege both came to the conclusion thereafter that was based on a false understanding of mathematics. So he retracted that. Immanuel Kant, in his books that he wrote, also in the Enlightenment, more than one book, he says mathematics is not something that exists in the real world, but it's something we impose onto the world. In sum, my friend, for you to stand here, or not in this case.
For you to sit here.
Not exactly. So yeah.
Anyway,
Let me correct you on that.
Yes,
For you to sit
you
here
got me. For you to stand here, my friend. For you to sit here, right?
Yeah.
And to say that infinity exists in the real world.
Oh no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said you can't rule out its existence.
No. Now you
I didn't
but
say
wait,
it did
No.
exist.
Hold on.
No, but that's just.
No.
It can.
It's correct.
No.
I didn't say it did exist. I said
Okay.
it might exist.
So okay, you say the same thing.
You
about
were the one that said it couldn't exist, and I said
No. Hold on. Let me just make this clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see that on a philosophical? Can you see my argument? That on a philosophical level, it's impossible for you to sit here, right, and to say that infinity exists in the real world, since you cannot even prove that maths exists in the real world.
Okay.
Or my question would be, if that is not the case, do what Bertrand Russell couldn't do what Immanuel Kant couldn't do what Frege couldn't do what Plato couldn't do, and tell us how maths exists in the real world. Go ahead.
Right. First off, this debate about whether mathematics is a human invention or whether it exists in the Platonic forms is completely and utterly irrelevant to the discussion.
You're talking about infinity, it's a mathematical concept.
Right, hang on. The reason that it's irrelevant is because the claim that Hilbert made, all I'm saying is the claim that Hilbert made is invalid. Okay? And the reason
you can't say it's invalid. You can't make that claim.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't make that claim.
Why can I not make that claim?
You're saying it's invalid. For you to say it's invalid, you have to have a thorough scientific means of falsifying it. you have no way of falsifying that the universe, the statement that the universe is not infinite. You have no way of falsifying.
I don't need to. I'll explain why.
That's how science works.
I'll explain why.
That's how science works.
No,
going against science.
Okay, no, I'm not. You are misunderstanding.
So tell me, and you're going against.
First off, if I say that the evidence points to a conclusion, and then we show that that evidence did not point to that conclusion, I don't have to prove that the opposite is true. Okay? All I can say is your inference was invalid.
No, but you're saying it's invalid.
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying, so let me clarify.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I think what you think I'm saying is that I've proven that the universe is infinitely big. Okay?
Well, no,
that is not.
Let me
finish.
Let me finish
because I think you're misinterpreting
tell me what you're saying.
I'm saying.
Tell me what you're saying. Go on.
What I'm saying is, if you say, right, that, let's put it this way, let's suppose that I say that because that camera is red, therefore, I know, I'm going to come to that. Therefore, the sun will die, right? Now, you might say the colour of that camera has got nothing to do with the fate of the sun, but you don't even have to go that far. You can simply point out that the camera isn't red, that the camera is black, right? So you don't even have to even get into the whole debate about whether the colour of the camera affects the fate of the sun.
So go ahead and tell me what your point is.
So what my point is that what Hilbert said was that you could show that the universe wasn't infinite by showing that it's not Euclidean, right? Now that I agree with, right? That is true. But what he said was that we had shown that the universe was not Euclidean. Now, what we've done now, what's happened in the 21st century is that we've shown that the measurements that we can make are consistent with the universe being... Let me finish.
Phil, please.
Let me finish. Seriously.
Let him finish.
Seriously, you've got to let me finish.
Should we stand up, guys? Should we stand up?
No. Right? Seriously, let me finish. Right? Okay. So, what we can say is that the evidence that Hilbert brought to the table to say that the universe was finite, is not valid. Now, that doesn't prove that the universe is infinite.
What, Philip?
Right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that his so-called proof of a finite universe doesn't work.
Okay. My point is good. So you're saying you don't know whether the universe is infinite or not.
I just want to know this infinite exists.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, I'm really happy you said
Correct.
that. So what is the point of discussing something which you don't know the answer to?
Okay, I will tell you why, because we'll get back to the original point. I was distracted for like half an hour.
And what's wrong with the Kalam argument?
The point is, because you started off this discussion, talking about infinity and this kind of things. You said that you have evidence against the Kalam argument. So this was what was told to us,
Yes.
So the first point I made to you is that the Kalam argument is not necessarily at the fore of protecting Islam or our theology. In fact, a lot of the Kalam arguments are non-Islamic arguments made by Thomas Aquinas or whatever. First point. Second point is, even despite this reality, you've come forward now and you've said, okay, I have my proofs.
No, I never said a proof. Ever. Don't put words into
I apologize. I abrogate what I just said now. I was saying that you've got your reasons and you've given your reasons,
Yeah.
So you've given the fact that the universe is not in your opinion, non-Euclidean, and therefore infinity could exist.
It's not my opinion.
Okay, fine. It's fine.
It's the measurements that we have made.
No, it's an opinion. No. It's an opinion based on observable data, Okay, fine. So having said that, I'm saying fine. So the furthest philosophically you can go is say, look, I don't know, in your opinion, whether the universe is infinite or not. I can say to you, look, the presupposition that the universe can contain infinity is itself non-substantiated by the fact, as I've said before, philosophically, that numbers themselves are not part of the real world, and there's no one that has ever been able to.
This is irrelevant. This is completely irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant?
I'll tell you why.
No, hold on, sorry, Philip. This is not irrelevant. If I said to you, look, the number one exists, guys, are you with me? If I say the number one exists, okay, exists in what context? If I say it exists as a mathematical construct, as an abstract construct, then okay, there might be some agreement here. But if I say number one exists as a real thing, that must mean from an empirical perspective that I can smell it, touch it, feel it, hear it, or taste it. Now, I can't touch one, I can't feel it, I can't do any of that stuff with number one. So if I can't even prove, and this is a big philosophical thing, that Plato, Immanuel Kant, Bertrand Russell, etc., none of these guys have been able to, Frege and others have not been able to solve, If I can't even prove that the number one exists in the real world, then how am I going to prove that infinity exists in the real world? So if you can't even prove that mathematics exists in the real world, you're completely at loss when you attempt to try and prove something which is a secondary problem for mathematicians. Some mathematicians say infinity doesn't even exist as a mathematical construct.
Yeah.
So having said that, and we talked about some of them anyways, we're not going to go into that. So having said that, all your argument, no, Philip, all your argument is based on here. Your argument is genuinely based on absolute speculation.
Yeah.
Okay,
and it has no, we have basically no evidence whatsoever today.
Right, okay, let me respond.
Can we stand now? Because my back is...
Do you want to stand?
The cameraman stand up. Just stand up.
Right.
Just forget it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So first off, right, this debate, it's true that there's a debate about in mathematics about the nature of numbers. Are they
philosophical debate.
Are they human inventions, or do they exist in some platonic form? This debate is completely and utterly irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant?
Please don't interrupt. I will explain why.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah?
Let him finish.
I apologize.
I can't explain it if you keep interrupting me.
I do apologize, my friend.
Right. Okay. The reason that it's irrelevant is because we don't need to know whether numbers are human inventions or whether they have some platonic form in their own right. So, for example, if I want to know how many bottles of water do I have, right? I just need to go, I've got one and another one, there's two. I don't need to debate what is the nature of numbers. Are they human inventions or not?
Now you're straw manning this philosophy.
I'm not straw manning. It's irrelevant. Our argument is irrelevant to the question.
No, but he's speaking and he's not allowing me to
Let him finish.
Okay, let me finish. You haven't let me finish.
Okay, I'll let you finish.
Right.
I'll let you finish.
So if we're trying to debate, right, whether or not there's a multiverse, right? Let's suppose we're trying to debate, are there other solar systems?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we need to do to debate whether there are other solar systems or not? We need to find evidence of planets orbiting other stars. Okay, do we need to debate the nature of mathematics to do that?
Philip,
no, we don't.
Please, Philip.
This is irrelevant.
What you're telling
this
me,
is completely
Philip, if you allow me to speak, please, yeah.
Okay.
What you're doing now is one of the logical fallacies that everyone knows, even without knowing anything about logic, which is you're falsely dictating the terms of the debate. What you're doing is you're saying, excuse me, let me tell you how you're doing that. This is irrelevant, this is relevant. Who decides what's irrelevant and relevant? Why are you deciding what's relevant or irrelevant? What I'm saying to you on a fundamental level is that if you cannot, and by the way, the example he gave was refuted by Bertrand Russell himself when he came back to his, because that's exactly what he said. He said if you got, I can't remember what he used as an object, because the idea is he said that you got one apple or two apples, you're counting apples, yeah? So these are tangible things, and he said you can count them. This is what Immanuel Kant and others said, no, it's not that we can see two things together, it's that we are superimposing a mathematical construct onto the tangibles. Not that the tangibles are giving us an idea of maths. So if that's the case, then your analogy is a flawed one that's been refuted by the philosophers that you've quoted. Having said that, we say now, if you're talking about infinity in the real world, which is a natural thing, and you can't even prove that numbers exist in the real world, no philosopher in the history of philosophy has been able to prove that numbers are a real thing existing in our realm, and you're coming here talking to me about infinity being part of our cosmological environment as an actual scientific reality which requires empiricism. That's a contradiction.
Okay,
and now if you're saying to me this is irrelevant, then what you've done to yourself is you've shot yourself in the foot and you've stabbed yourself in the debate, and what you've said is that just believe. That's what you'd expect from a believer like me, my friend. Not from an atheist like you who requires an evidence. I think you should throw in the towel before it's too late, my friend.
Okay, let me explain why I'm not going to throw in the towel.
Throw the towel.
Because first off, you've misinterpreted Bertrand Russell, okay? What Russell was trying to do, and what you've completely failed in your understanding of Russell,
throw the towel.
right?
Seriously.
Yeah, you want to keep saying stuff like that, and you can do a good entertaining show for the crowd, but you're not actually progressing the debate, are you?
I think you should throw the towel.
You can put on your clown show if you want, right? But I don't think anyone's going to be impressed with the level of your intellectual rigor, right? What Bertrand Russell was trying to do was trying to establish whether mathematics could be perfectly self-contained system, okay? And that is
No, that's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not as well.
You should look up Gödel and what Russell was trying to do.
What should I look up about Gödel?
Gödel showed that what Russell's objective of trying to create a perfectly self-contained mathematical system was flawed. Okay, so